Hello, hello. Nikki and Ethot here. So today we are going to dive into gut health. So when you're thinking about your gut, I'm sure that you have heard of like microbiome and your microbiome in your gut. You have like 100 trillion cells just that live here in your gut. You're actually, they say that you have more cells, so you are more your gut than you are human being. Have you heard that, Ifat?
Oh yeah, for sure. So we're more bugs
Yeah.
and bacteria than we are human. Actually, I think it's 90% bugs and 10% human.
Wow, it's so crazy. And then, you think about also like you think about your disposition and you think like I'm cranky or I'm tired or this is my personality type, or sometimes you think about like maybe your happiness is created in your mind, like what are your thoughts? But in reality, 90% of our serotonin, which is like that releases all those like happy little juices around our body, are created right here in your stomach. And so when we're shocked, when we're feeling depressed, but if you think about what you ate the day before, maybe you had a glass of wine or two, which turns into sugar, which we'll talk about, but is like negatively affecting your microbiome. Maybe you had a couple cookies, some like snack food. You're not really even thinking like, oh, I didn't have like, you're not like, you didn't eat junk food all day, but you ate enough to feed the negative microbiome. And then all of a sudden you're depressed the next day. And it kind of gets you going into this, like, I'm depressed, I'm eating bad. When if we can eat well and eat to feed our gut, then our moods will follow suit.
That's right. That's right. So, microbiome, we all have a different one. It's as unique as a finger print. So that's a really cool thing to know. You get your first dose of healthy bugs that live in your system in birth from your mom. Actually, I should say it's in the womb. But then when you go through the birth canal, you get a big mouthful of juices. And that's your first microbiome population colonization in your gut, and then through breast milk, and then through when a baby, when you're a toddler, when it's 1-year-old, 2-year-old, when you start introducing sweet potatoes and bananas and avocados, that's when you're starting to really start building your gut microbiome. And yeah, there's one really good role. It has a bunch of roles, but the one good one is that its job is to actually eat all the fiber. So all the stuff that we're saying, that you should eat, the veggies, it gets into your gut, and then the biomes, the bugs eating your vegetables, and then they break it down, and that's their food. And the product that gets out of that process of them just breaking down and getting some energy transmitted in between really sends good stuff into your body. So they're really smart and important. And like you said, if we're feeding them green vegetables and lots of vitamins, then they thrive. And if we feed them sugar and oil and fat, it could actually kill them. And then if there is a void, then the bed bugs are going to populate.
Yes. And that's what makes you feel sick. And that's what, like, also you have like candida, leaky gut. There's so many diseases, and a lot of our diseases today start in the gut. So when you're thinking about fiber and you're thinking about like I'm sure you've heard of like the cruciferous vegetables. So those are like the power, if not, just Google it, but it's the powerhouse of vegetables. So vegetables have fiber and indigestible fiber. The indigestible fiber actually feeds your microbiome and makes the bugs in your system happy, healthy, and thriving. And then the more of the microbiome the more of fibers that you can eat, the better you're digesting your food, the thinner you are, the less visceral fat that you have around your organs. I can always tell the difference for our clients that I work with when they're doing like a weight loss challenge and say they're doing intermittent fasting and eating their vegetables first. They come and they've lost a lot of weight, but they lost no weight in their visceral, in their stomach. I can almost like 9 out of 10 times I can say, did you eat your vegetables? No, but I did really well on intermittent fasting. So they did what really well on intermittent fasting, but they lost the weight in the place that wasn't the biggest and the most important place to lose weight, which is your gut. And so when you're thinking about gut health, it's we want to lose the fat around the organs. We want our microbiome working as like our advocate to help us release toxins out of our body and release like and be able to assimilate all of the nutrients that our food has available for us. We could be eating all the veggies in the world, but if we have a really upside down microbiome, we might be digesting just a portion of it. So one thing, I was thinking about this the last time you and I were talking about this, Ifat, was 14 years ago now, my son was born with gastroschisis, and he was born with all of his intestines on the outside. And I was trying to research in places that would let me have a vaginal birth, because what they were saying is actually like his lung health, because he's going to be born so early, is better. But because he was a gut baby, having a vaginal birth was like a secondary help for him in his microbiome. And then that many years ago, they put him on, he was only 3 pounds, and they put him on probiotics, which I had no idea at that time what they were. Like they were like, okay, we're going to put him on probiotics because he had failure to thrive. So his gut wasn't digesting even though he was tube fed, but he wasn't digesting any of the breast milk that they would put into the tube because his gut was so compromised. So they started intravenously giving him probiotics, and then they had to heal his gut before and just give him all like the lipids and things like that. And then once they healed his gut, then they could start giving him my breast milk again, but he couldn't even digest it. So I think that that's such a good thing to think about for us, is like, if you're bloating and you're like, I'm eating all this food, but why I still feel horrible. Well, we probably have to fix your gut and be patient with that first. Of course, like taking out the sugars, adding, possibly probiotics and prebiotics, and then slowly healing your gut. And then you can increase the amount of vegetables and lemon water and all that kind of stuff that actually feeds your gut. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. So if you think about your gut as a garden, the bacteria, the probiotics that you take is actually the plant, and the prebiotics are the fertilizer. So if you think about food, what you're eating is gonna create that environment in your gut. So if I, for example, I'm gonna go on 2 weeks of processed food, junk food, sugar, oily stuff, I'm going to kill the good bacteria because they're not going to have anything to eat. They want to eat fiber. They're going to have only sugar and stuff. And then I'm going to build more of a sugar craving bugs that, like you were talking, they actually know that our secondary brain is in our gut. So it will send signals to my brain saying, I just want that fast food burger, give it to me now, because that's what I'm more of. Whereas if I go on a detox week, or I go on a break and I eat a lot of vegetables and healthy green leafy greens, even fruit and grains, then I'm gonna starve the sugar eating bacteria, and then I will make sure that I have lots of good eating bacteria. The caveat here is, when you're switching from one kind of bacteria to the next, yeah, you can take probiotics. That's going to help you a lot. You can take prebiotics that will help make sure that your bugs that are in the system are going to be thriving. But you might experience a little bit discomfort, like gas, when we eat beans and when we eat broccoli and cruciferous vegetables. Sometimes it's associated with gas, just because it takes us a while to really have the bacteria that is working there. This is why it's so important to have a probiotic to add to your gut, and to make sure that you're having a lot of water, and be patient to yourself. Sometimes digestive enzyme can really help as well with that
Yeah.
process.
Yeah. And taking digestive enzymes with your meals as we age. So I think it's over like 30, 32. We stop creating so many digestive enzymes. You can get digestive enzymes through different foods, but if you also just give yourself, so say if you're having, you have a lot of visceral fat, or you feel like your gut is just not absorbing your food, then you might want to spend the money to take a prebiotic, probiotic, also digestive enzymes with your food. Really take the time to clear out the alcohol and the sugar, and then add in the fiber slowly, and be very patient with the progression of the right microbiome. And then once you start digesting really well, then maybe you don't have to take digestive enzymes with every meal, because you're starting to digest on your own. Maybe you can take, probiotics a couple times a week or something like that. So it's not always, if money is a concern, it's not always that, but sometimes we have to spend a little more at the beginning to see if we can really give our body just some like little hacks, some little help to start that process. And then once you kind of get going, then most of your food will do the work for you.
100%. 100%. Yeah.
So some of the things, some of my favorite foods for like gut health are obviously greens are a must. So I put like a huge, big handful of greens in my smoothie. I have usually a big salad. I put a big handful of greens if I'm cooking any kind of like stir fry. I eat like one type of cruciferous vegetable, if not more, a day. So whether it's like Brussels sprouts or broccoli or cauliflower, or there's like onions and garlic, and all of these kind of things are so great. And then I put miso in my soups. That's like a fermented food. What are some of your favorites?
Kimchi. Oh, I love
My
kimchi.
favorite. Me too. Me too. Sauerkraut.
Yeah, sauerkraut for sure.
Mhm.
You can add, because we were talking about how not to add sugar. Sometimes sugar is hiding in your salad dressing or your favorite drink, or it can hide in a lot of things. So if you make your beautiful salad, sometimes hummus and salsa, or kimchi, or sauerkraut can really elevate the flavor and just be very helpful for your gut bacteria.
Mm. I love it. Okay, well, thank you guys. Thank you for jumping in with us. We hope that this was helpful, and you can always reach out to us if you have any questions. But you can also just like Google and do research yourself for like how to feed your microbiome and how to have like the healthiest gut ever. And with a healthy gut is a big smile. So remember, you're worth the effort.
100%.
Bye.